Good morning, and it is the last day. Oh my gosh, what a weekend. It's been a big weekend for our family. All I can say is that the family meetings work. And yesterday, off the back of a very big family meeting, one where there was a little bit more real talk, there was a whole bunch of respect and understanding on Sunday, which I'm really proud of. But I'm also very worn. And I talked a little bit about being the rock yesterday and, being allowed to crumble. And I can't wait. Yes, Puss Puss, there's my cat. Hello, Puss Puss. My husband's washed his car. He's really excited about going back to work. I'm worn, to be really honest with you. Worn because I am the person that knows how everybody's feeling in this house, and because I know how everybody's feeling, the good and the bad, it means that my job is to essentially hold it together, and trying to help people have the right conversation that is healthy and builds to better relationships, not worse. And so I was really proud of my children. They all got to a better space, and and I'm also proud of the fact that they, despite having their own agenda and their own intentions and their own desires, they followed the path of kindness and compassion to create a better relationship across the group. So yeah, I'm really proud of my kids. It was really nice, but I'm tired. I am so tired. I am done. So bring on extended bubbles, because I want this bubble to stretch and I want to stay in the bubble and let the family go. I might shut the door so they can't come back into my bubble. That might be a nice thing to do. I'm kidding. But yeah, it's I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Really looking forward to tomorrow. My husband gets to go to work. I know that's going to make a huge difference to him. And it's really funny. I don't want to talk about relationships because we all have a whole bunch of stuff, and that's not today's session. But I one of the biggest challenges you have in a marriage and in any relationship is you can be in these relationships yet feel so alone. And a dear friend of mine said to me yesterday, it's just crazy how even after being together for how many years, you can still miss the mark around what's going on. So I do know that my husband needs to go to work, and that's, I can't wait for that to happen for him. Today is actually about self-esteem and self-worth. And the reason why I decided to choose this particular topic to talk about is because, as you know, most weeks I try and build into the week. And tomorrow I'm meeting Stephen Cummings. I can't wait to have a conversation with him and get some really strong insights around, from a strategic level, what he thinks needs to happen. I'm going to be talking to a friend of mine as well, who is she doesn't know this yet, but I am going to talk to her. She's a dear friend of mine, and she works she's a broker for Foresight Bar. So I'm going to talk to her and get some insights around, some investment insights around what's going on in that space. And I'm also going to have a chat to someone from, from the commercial world around any insights that they might have and they might think is valuable for people. But today what I wanted to start with, as we build back into our new lives, is this thing called worth. Now, a dear friend of mine, Sue, she runs a program called Women of Worth. This content is not based on that, but just as an FYI, there are some amazing programs out there that really do help build self-worth. And I'm going to tell you why self-worth is the important piece, or the important player, when we look at self-esteem and self-worth. So self-esteem is essentially, or primarily, something that is outside of your control. It's derived from external factors. You may have a little bit of control over it, but you essentially don't. And an example of that would be making a rep team. making workshop for group footy instructors, or even the LMZ squad, or making a DVD. When those moments happen, even though we always say, you know, I remember when I used to go to trials for netball, I remember always being sort of told, you know, just play your best, do your best, it's all you can do, it's not up to you, you just have to accept the decisions. And so, you know, I remember I must have been 14 I think, and I trialled for Canterbury under 16s, and I didn't make it, and it just devastated me. And then the following year I was injured, and so the following year I made Canterbury Country under 21s, and I remember at that point thinking to myself, yes, I've done it. And then I not only made Canterbury Country under 21s, I captained that team. And my self-efficacy my self-esteem was really high. Equally though, the 2 years prior to that, my self-esteem was really low, because I hadn't made the team, and I felt like I was the worst netball player in the world, and netball was my life back in those days, you know. So I wasn't always the group fitness guru that I am today, or that I once was. Netball was my sport, you know. That meant the world to me. And I remember being devastated, and I remember being elated, and who I believed I was defined by me getting in or out of those teams. Now, the interesting piece about that is, when we look at self-esteem, people often talk about it as being something that you have full control over. What you have control over, in fact, is self-worth. So it's not the self-esteem that you have the control over, that's a result of. And it will be higher and supported if your self-worth is high. And I'll give you an example of that. Self-worth is how you see yourself, how you understand yourself, how you accept yourself, how you give self-love, self-care. So your self-worth is derived by what you put into you. And if you put good things into you, then regardless of what external factors happen, you're able to deal with them a lot better. And I'll give you an example of this. Let's say somebody turned around to me and said, Mid, you're not a very nice person. My self-worth is so high in that space, I'd go, oh, no, buddy, you got that one wrong. I'm actually a really good person, and I might make mistakes, and I might not always get it right, but I'm a good human. And so I can live in my self-worth despite the fact that somebody might think differently of me. Equally, if my self-worth wasn't high and somebody said to me, well, you're not a very good person, I'd go, oh, am I really? Am I not a good person? And it could pull me right down. The key in that, though, is your self-worth is given or taken by you. Even though somebody has come in and they've said some stuff, and it's very easy to go, oh, they're the ones that hurt me, or they're the ones that lowered my self-esteem. Yes, they had the power to lower your self-esteem, which ultimately attacked your worth. But you have the power to hold on to that. So I wanted to just talk about those two things and make it really clear the difference between the two. Self-esteem is external, which is probably why, if we think about it, and it's comparative. So you comparing yourself to other people. And it's why we've had such challenges around Facebook and people always comparing themselves to this perfect image of somebody else when they're often not perfect, and their worlds are not filled with, you know, bells and whistles and beautiful balloons and butterflies every day. That's just not the reality. That's not life. That's not real life. That's the highlight or the show reel. So today what I wanted to do is give you a couple of tips today on how to start to build your self-worth if you don't feel it's there. If for some reason, you know, you've lost your job and your job to find you, and if the world just, you're a bit scared and you're like, what the hell's going on? The first step of self-worth is understanding yourself. So spend some time with you. Ask yourself, again, we go back to that strengths model, SWOT. Ask yourself, what are the things that make you you? What are the things that you know you're good at? What are the things that you know you have within you? What are the things that you love? What are the things you're passionate about? Spend a bit of time with you. And then, like a massive fence, create a rock fence where every day you plant another rock around your self-worth. You tell yourself that you are good at something, that you are awesome at something, and give yourself some self-love. by understanding yourself, you can move towards a place of self-acceptance, which is ultimately where you land when you go, I have true self-love. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but it does mean that you have to be able to love who you are and love the good and the bad, the light and the dark. I'm not perfect. There's a whole bunch of stuff about me that's not awesome, and I love that, because you know what, I would hate to be perfect. I couldn't stand it. You know, I want to be me as much as I can be. So I hope that's helpful, guys. Build the little rock each day. I'm going to build on the worth topic over this week, and hopefully give you little insights. Today, the biggest insight though is self-esteem versus self-worth. Understanding that self-esteem is often derived by external factors that we have little or no control over. Self-worth is the place you want to play. And remembering your worth, you can give it away. Nobody has the power actually to take it away from you, but you have all the power to give it to them. And equally, you have all the power to take it back, own it, and live in you and love you for you. Have a wonderful day, guys. Much love. Bye.